Spinning.
Spinning.
We're good.
What's going on, everyone? I'm Chris Baker.
And I'm Ty Backer.
Welcome to episode 128 of Behind the Tool Belt with TC Backer Construction.
TC Backer. Roofing, siding, windows, gutters, solar. Roofing, siding, windows, gutters, solar. TC Backer. TC Backer.
TC Backer family. Happy Wednesday, everyone. We're back once again for episode 128. We got a really special guest today, Mr. Joseph Hughes. How are you guys doing today, man?
Doing awesome, man. Thanks for having me. Excited to dive in here and talk about whatever we're going to talk about.
Yeah, Tyrus, how was your day today, man?
Chewy, it was good.
Yeah.
Towards the end, I started to ruin it, but I reeled it in a little bit, and I gathered myself, and I reframed from saying a lot of stupid things.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of proud of myself, and I feel much better right now that I didn't open my stupid mouth and put insert foot into my mouth. But other than that, it's been a great week. The weather's been phenomenal. Everybody's working. The phone's ringing. I mean, it's just been great, and we got
Blessed
a lot
for
of
the
great,
stress, man.
Yeah, man, we got a lot of great things going on. We got our new table for the studio today. Finally, we had it custom built by one of our team members. Howie is a master carpenter, and I don't know if you guys can see it or not, but he did a phenomenal job on the table. And I'm super excited about that. Like, some of you guys that are watching this will actually be able to see this at RoofCon. We're going to drag this piece of furniture because that's what it is. Like, he built us a piece of really high-end furniture here, and we're going to drag it to RoofCon with us because we're going to be set up down there for the entire weekend. It's kind of like a what?
Yeah,
What days was it?
Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, the event is. So.
Yeah, Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. But yeah, Joe, we've, obviously have been friends on Facebook for a little bit. You're a part of Revolt. And, I've been, kind of in the shadows, paying attention to what you're saying, what you're doing. And the thing that I admire, like, probably the most is, you always, every single day you have something so great and inspirational to share with everybody, whether you're doing a video or you just type something up and you post it. And then the nuggets that you drop, and being an entrepreneur, I think you give a lot of things away. You know what I mean? That most people, I think, would offer with a price to it. But you're open, you're out there, you're helping contractors, you're making an impact, you're following through on your purpose. And I just think that's really cool. And I know last week we were talking a little bit about mentorship and coaching and stuff like that. And I would be honest with you, dude, that from a distance, I would consider you one of my mentors. Okay, whether if you know that or not, you do now. Okay, cat's out of the bag. And we were talking about coaches. Okay, and this can probably be a little segue into something new that I think you're starting to do with your company here. We'll dig into that just a little bit. You don't have to go full bore into everything that, unless you want to. That's totally up to you. But you're offering a new service with what you do now, correct?
Yes, we are. Thank you so much for the kind words. I put a lot of intention behind the content and everything I put out, and I appreciate your time, your attention, and your positive feedback. So that's the fuel that keeps me going, right? Because you put things out there on social, and you're not always sure who's watching, who's liking it, who's getting value from it. Like you, for example, I don't like, this is completely fine, but like I don't see you commenting or liking a lot of stuff. Not that I'm keeping score, but it's good to see that people are impacted even if they're not dropping that comment or like, which is most people, right? So thank you for that.
Yeah, for sure, man. So to take I'm gonna go ahead and just dive right into this to get into a little deeper conversation with you, because I'm sure you talk every day, all day long about like what it is that Joe does today, and hopefully you don't mind talking about the little deeper stuff like when you stepped out of your comfort zone, because I listened to your podcast with Diego. And you must have worked for your family for a long time. Okay. So one thing right off the bat tells me a lot about you. Okay. Like you're a strong man, you're strong-minded, strong-willed potentially, and is able to step out of his comfort zone, because let's face it, you probably had a pretty cushy job and was probably set working for family, but you stepped out of your comfort zone. So when you did that, when was that moment, that oh shit moment, that I think I made a mistake?
Oh man.
Did you experience one, or were you just like dead set, like fuck this, fuck that, and fuck you, I'm out? Or
no, I you mean when I thought I made a mistake going out on my own?
Yes.
I like that enough to just assume that flat out, because they're even like Andy Frisella, who's someone I follow a lot. He talks about like the first 10 years he wanted to quit every day, and then it was only every other day, and then it was only once a week, and that sort of thing. So yeah, I mean you know how it goes. And just to give some context there. You're spot on. Did your research, listen to that podcast. But my family business, HughesMarine.com. Is 128 years old. They started in 1894.
Wow.
So I was a sixth generation family member, had the opportunity to grow up in that business, up in the shipyard in Brooklyn and the office here in Edison, New Jersey, and put in the work, like do the work, and had the opportunity to learn a lot from my dad, my uncles, and many others in the company. And it came a time where, entrepreneurs, business owners will kind of resonate with this. Like, I loved it. It was a great opportunity. Yes. It was not baller money, not Lambo money, but it was, solid and benefits and job security and, all that good stuff. And it just was, I was around 30 years old at the time, and I was like, I could do this for the next, 35 years and retire, and kind of, that's that. And no offense to anyone. I just, wanted to do something on my own and kind of, hang my own shingle, so to speak, and put myself out there and create some of my own. So yeah, I did that. Left. I didn't really have too much of a plan. I had a construction background, had a business degree from college. I was really interested in marketing, which obviously I still am, and just kind of combined the contracting background with my interest in marketing, seeing the gap from marketing in the contracting industry, and just started to figure things out. I didn't have like a ton of pressure to make money to make a lot of money right away. My wife worked full time in the finance industry at that time, so we had that discussion, and I had a little bit of a runway to try to figure out my business plan and figure out how to make money and all that stuff. And man, there was a lot of doubt the first couple of years. Honestly, the first 3 years, when I was trying to figure it out all on my own and trying to put all the pieces together, and there's a ton of doubt, man, and it's one of those things where you ever heard like the burn the ships, burn the ships, right? Like burning everything. I can't go back. Like this is my only option. I mean, in reality, I had that plan B. I could always, the doors are always open at the family biz, but like just from a pride perspective, like that was just the last thing. Like it's not an option in my book.
Mm-hmm.
So like, I'm gonna figure this thing out. Like whatever it takes. And then developing that grit, as in business, like that's valuable, because things aren't always going the way, you're not always having a great week like you are this week, Ty, right? So that.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and that's the cool thing is that I think over time we learn that we can start over whenever we want, as many times as we need to. So needless to say, you've spent lots of sleepless nights and have had fear paralyze you, right? Tell us about the toughest thing that you've overcome since then.
Man, the toughest thing I've overcome, about late 2018, I hit a low point. Business, I just felt like I wasn't where I wanted to be. You know, I know we shouldn't do it. We compare ourselves to other people. You know, we compare ourselves to this like ideal of like, all right, I've been doing this 6 years. I should be at this level, that sort of thing. And I felt like, you know, things just weren't, the systems in the business weren't quite right. I was unsure of myself. I had a business coach at the time. It just seemed like we just hadn't really gotten the traction that I wanted. And I hit a low point, you know, led to, you know, being a little bit depressed for a little while. And that was kind of my rock bottom, honestly. And I had a really great support system around me. I still do. And that was everything, right? Like that support system, family, friends, you know, others, that mentors, you know, therapy, like just throwing it all out there. Like, you know, that's what gets you through those tough times. And so, you know, mental health is a big thing for me. I take care of myself physically and mentally because I never want to go back to that point. That was a pretty low point. So
Yeah.
I feel like
that was late 2018.
Yeah, as individuals, I feel like it's very important to, number one, understand that and be able to identify that. And to go through those things, man, because without the low spots, you don't enjoy the high spots as much. You know, it's to be able to know what you don't want to ever go back to. I mean, if life's always sweet, I feel like you're not going to have as much drive and you're not going to have as much grit, you know, to claw yourself out of those positions when you're in it, you know?
Yeah. You won't learn. There's, you know, if everything is just peaches, you're not going to, there's no learning there.
Right.
There's no learning curve. There's no, like you said, pushing through it. It's just kind of, you just settle in and things are okay. And we talk about okay and is the enemy of great. And, you know, so Joe, what would you say had helped you get through those fears and those insecurities? Like, what did you do? Elaborate a little bit more on that.
Man. I mean, what helped me? Well, one day at a time, man. Like that's, I talk about that a lot in my content, as you may know, but like just focus on winning one day at a time. And if that seems overwhelming, like sometimes it does even today, it's like win the next hour, you know, win the next thing that you got to do on your to-do list, like make that a win. Just keep stacking those wins. I'm a big practitioner of like, I have a pretty strict morning routine that I follow to really like prime myself for the day, to stack those wins early and get that momentum early on. So that's still a big thing for me when I have a tough day or a lot of challenges or a lot going on or whatever. It's like, all right, just win today and then we'll figure out tomorrow. So that's a big thing. Another thing is getting around other people, right? Like we're both in Revolt. Like I've got a business coach, I've got another business consultant, and some mastermind groups. Like getting around other people that can empathize, that are going through the same shit and like can help you out with that. Maybe they've been through that. They can help you kind of zoom out from your like myopic view of your problems and look at the big picture and get some perspective on things. Have a longer term outlook than just like, man, everything's on fire today and I'm not going to get through it. Like I zoom out and like look at the big picture here. Everything's still good, and that's huge. That's huge. Like you have to manufacture that environment because you're not going to find, that's not a natural environment. Maybe in your local area, your friends from high school or whatever. Like there's just different things that you go through. So yeah, those two things: winning the day and then getting around people that support network is like. I mean, I can't overstate it.
Yeah. And one of the reasons why I felt compelled to ask you these questions is because I know these are all things that business owners go through. And I know a lot of business owners and people, even team members, and not just necessarily, entrepreneurs, but everybody goes through these roller coaster rides of emotions and fears and insecurities and stuff like that. And I've experienced it, and it's so hard, at least for me, was to put my ego and my pride down and to be able to open up and ask for help. And I really feel like that was probably one of the biggest things that held me back, but has also been one of the things when I finally decided to ask for help has propelled me so much further along when I finally was like, just drop the vine, bro, and open up and start asking for help. And I know, I listened to you, you're in business 9 years. That's huge. You're coming up on your 10th year, and that says a lot about somebody. So I kind of felt like we had a lot in common, because when you were talking earlier, you said you were talking about like those insecurities of like, our systems aren't in place right. It's like things are moving too slow. Why aren't I further along? Dude, I still struggle with that shit. Like on a daily basis. And I start to beat myself up. Okay, because we do have systems and processes in place. Some of them, and this is where I've been getting hemmed up here lately, and this is just me being honest. There's a lot of things, programs and things that I've purchased that I don't even know how to use. But everybody else in the building does. And I don't know if you're at that point, or maybe I'm just an idiot for not knowing how to understand and use things, but it's like I'm so inundated to make sure that the pipeline's full, or remarketing and doing so much other things. And then I go back to like, well, I'm a leader. I'm supposed to provide those right tools. But then I go back into like, God damn it, I don't know how to use it.
Yo, listen, my man was so excited. What was it yesterday when you taught me how?
Yes.
We've had Company Cam. We use Company Cam, and it integrates with our CRM. And I didn't realize, anyone out there that uses Company Cam, if you don't know this, we're about to give you a nugget here. So
yes,
it integrates with our CRM, and I didn't realize that. I thought that when you built a job in our CRM, it just integrated it, that it created a job for you in Company Cam that you can take pictures in, right? I did not realize that inside our CRM, there was this little button in there that you can actually drag everything from Company Cam over into the CRM. And Ty taught me this the other day, and my man was so excited.
Dude,
he's like, dude, I've never taught you anything in technology. I was like, no, dude, I had no idea. Like, this is a game changer. Like, this is seriously a game changer. I used to hold my phone up and look at stuff while I'm doing stuff, trying to go back and forth, and I'm like, bro.
Yeah.
You just talked.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we're always, that's funny. Just today, like this afternoon, Elizabeth here on our team was like reorganizing our Google Drive, because we got this habit of, we have our paid like Google Drive, our team at Contractor Dynamics, where we try to keep everything. But then naturally, like I have stuff in mine, she has stuff in hers. So we're trying to consolidate. And just like she finally said enough is enough, because we've been spending so much time hunting around for different documents, like, and then the sharing permissions, and then like all that nonsense. So you just get in the habit of doing things, and you're like, finally the pain gets so bad. You're like, all right, I just got to buckle down and figure this out, Yep,
and learn it. Yeah. Yep, I get it. I totally get it. But no, that's cool, man. And that's why I kind of thought like, Joe's been in business long enough, because a lot of the people, especially in our space, have only been in business 1 to 5 years. And being in a management position or a leadership position, it's tough to, I guess my question for you, Joe, is that if I was looking for a business coach, okay, what type of person am I looking for, and how am I going to know that they're going to be a good fit for me?
Good question.
Yeah, I've had a few business coaches. One became a business partner for a couple of years. We've since split ways and amicably, and now I'm 100% owner. But I mean, the like with anything else, alignment of values has to be there before anything else. That's the employee with vendor, suppliers, whatever, partners, whatever it is, coaches. Just that trust. That trust, the alignment of values, someone that like you just know deeply is going to be there for, like, is going to do whatever it takes, right? So like I can text my coach now, or in 3 hours, 3 hours from now, if he's awake, he'll get right back to me, that sort of thing. And we try to, we make ourselves available to our clients as well. Like whatever you need, it might be outside the realm of like what we actually can help with, but fortunately I have a really good, strong network, and I can, make an introduction or get someone else to help you out, that sort of thing. So for me, it just comes down to that trust of like, can they help me get what I want? I think you have to know to some degree what you want, A good coach can help kind of extract that from you and go through some exercises to figure that out. But if you know what you want, a good coach should be able to help you get there. And I think the level of I've been in group coaching, one-on-one. We offer both to our clients. I think the one-on-one is really it's really valuable because you get to dig into your individual business issues and what is really going on, what is keeping you up at night. In a group setting, you might not get that. So, in my experience, the one-on-one attention and support is what I value as well as a community.
Yeah, for sure. And I can see that, at least for my case. I don't know if I would feel comfortable enough opening up in a group setting. I think I know sometimes my thoughts are pretty crazy, and I would have to trust that person not to judge me. Okay. So do you think age or years of experience in business or what they make each year, should someone take that into consideration, or is that just bullshit stuff?
I don't, and I know maybe I get what you're saying. If there's someone 10 years younger than me that could potentially coach me, do I have a hang up about that? I think I have had at some points. But there's, my business coach is actually younger than me by 5 years, 6 years. So that's not an issue for me. It comes down to track record, their confidence, their authenticity. And you see that a lot in social media content. If that person's not local to you, you guys got on and Chris, you said, I feel like I know you already because I've seen so many of your videos. That's a big part of it, building that trust ahead of time. Does that experience? You gotta have some track record, of having been there and done that, or a track record of helping similar people and similar companies get to where they want to go. There's got to be that track record,
Right.
Yeah. No,
and I see where you're coming from too, Ty, because it's if a business owner, let's just say you're running a $50 million a year company, and you finally break down and say, all right, I want to be coached. I'm going to get coached by this guy that's 15 years younger, and he only has a $3 million a year company. He has no idea the struggles I go through on the daily basis. I have 100 employees. He has 5. How do you come to grip with, accepting that this person may be a right fit for you, or are you just supposed to ignore those aspects and just strictly concentrate on core values and, do you trust them and that kind of stuff?
Yeah, I get that. We have clients that are $50 million, $100 million companies, and we're not yet.
Right.
We're not really even close to that yet, honestly. So yeah, we coach them and train them on a marketing perspective. Would I feel confident right now, today, coaching them from a business perspective? If you're hey, I'm at 50, I want to get to 75. No, I would not, honestly. I would not pitch my services to them as a business coach. Mm-hmm. Maybe that's me selling myself short, but I have not yet developed those skills that I know that I can confidently, with 100% confidence, help them get to where they want to go. From a marketing perspective, yeah, we'll train their marketing people, their team, we're 100% in on that. But from a business perspective, yeah, I've never managed that. But however, my business coach, is managing, or coaching big companies like that as well. So, maybe it comes down to confidence. I just know there's so much, there's so much nonsense out there in marketing, coaching, and all that stuff.
Right.
I want to be 100% confident that I can absolutely help someone, or else I'll happy to refer them off to someone else or make a recommendation or something. You know what I mean?
That says a lot about your character too.
For sure.
Not just, okay, yeah, this is a monetary opportunity here for me. Let me just scoop this up real quick. You know what I mean? To be able to show the character, to say, you know what, this might not be a good fit for me, but I know someone who might be able to help you out. That shows a lot of character, in my opinion.
Yeah, I like that too. I was thinking the same exact thing when you were speaking, Joe. It says a lot, about a person, because a lot of people, and there's so many things on Facebook now, everybody thinks they're a business coach. Everybody thinks they're a mentor. Everybody thinks they're a social media influencer. And it's and that's why I brought that up. It's where would I go? And unfortunately, I have not yet had a business coach. And I'm not saying I've been in business for 25 years, but over a decade we've been in business, and we've made it this far. And I think my ego sometimes gets in the way of like, oh, dude, I should be the one coaching businesses. You know, like I don't. What's this not-nosed punk kid gonna tell me that I haven't already experienced and failed miserably many times and have learned from that? Like, what is someone gonna tell me? But I think more so, in my case, I think sometimes I just need someone to talk to on a business level, not a friend. You know, someone that's gonna hold me accountable. Somebody that, like you said, holds my core values, my personal core values, at least the same, has the same mindset, and can understand me and compliment me well, you know, where we could compliment each other well and potentially bounce things off of each other, because let's face it, I mean, that's what it's all about, because for so long I stuffed stuff. And I wanted everybody to think that I knew what I was doing, when really they didn't. I was the only one fooling myself. You know, and it's like the day and age that we're in, it's like life is entirely too short,
Yeah.
you know, to walk around, you know, acting like you know everything and,
Right.
and just dying on the inside. You know, I spent too many years doing that.
Yeah, I agree that dying on the inside, and also like I think about that a lot. Like I have a lot of things I want to get done in this life, and I don't have all the time in the world to make all the mistakes that I need to make on my own and figure out everything on my own. So yeah, I want to kind of, you know, I don't want to say shortcut, but I want to, you know, decrease that learning curve and be able to accomplish more in the next, you know, however many years, 40, 50, 60 years I have. You know, life, it's just, yeah, it comes down to like how much you want to accomplish, how much of an impact you want to have. And then to your point, like you said earlier, like, you know, I feel like I should be coaching people. Well, you absolutely can. And you can have a coach. Like I have a coach, and we also do coaching, and I have I run a mastermind group where I, you know, teach about leadership and impact and things like that. So it's, you know, it's just this kind of cycle, you know.
Yeah,
You can learn and you can teach, and when you teach, it helps you synthesize your own thoughts and beliefs and, you know, things like that too. So you're always learning while you're teaching too.
Absolutely, man. I love it. I love that stuff.
Joe, what motivates you, man? What drives you?
Impact, like having a positive impact on people, you know, whether it's getting them to think bigger or operate in a more intentional way with their time and priorities, whatever that is for them, whether it's business or family or their own leadership. That's big for me, right? It's like, and you know, people are going to forget about you when you die. You know, they'll remember you for a little while and then kind of move on with their busy lives. But you know, having an impact means affecting other people's lives in a positive way. So, yeah, it's my motivation.
Love
Awesome,
it.
man.
Yeah,
That's
I love
good
that
stuff.
stuff. You know, and purpose, you know, that's funny because, you know, I heard something recently that there was like 4 levels of why. And you touched on all 4 of them. You know, survival. You know, survival is that, you know, I got bills to pay, I got mouths to feed, and nothing in this life is for free. You know what I'm saying? There's a song, I think, that goes like that. But anyhow, status. Okay, so it's the status, like you talked about earlier. It's like, I am not going back there. You know, like I'm just not going to go back there. I got to prove my haters wrong. You know, I got to get a nice house. I got to keep up with the Joneses. You know, I got to keep the outside appearances. And then things start to go on, and you start to experience those freedoms of entrepreneurship. And a lot of people don't make it past that. You know, that freedom where, oh, I don't have to go into the office so early anymore. You know, I get to spend more time with my family and things like that. But then a lot of us, you know, start to realize that, you know, there's more to this than money, right? Money's the tool. You know, in order for us to have bigger impact and have a purpose, you know, and it's like, how am I going to be remembered? How do I want to make an impact on other people's lives? You know what I mean? My legacy. It's about realizing why I was put on this earth and pushing the limits of being the best version of myself. I had to write this down.
That's good
I
stuff, man.
Yeah, I was thinking about it, you know, operating at the highest level of the pyramid. You know what I mean? And doing the things that no one else has ever done before,
Yeah.
right?
My man's on his shit tonight.
Right, and helping others, having that impact, and the money is the tool. Being an entrepreneur can't be about the money at this point in time, because this shit's too fucking hard, right? right? At least for me, it's been grueling. It's been grinding. There's been a lot of lost nights sleep of either how am I going to pay my bills or how am I going to get all this work done. It's like feast or fathom. Now it's been feast for the past freaking however long, but
Right.
those were the stresses were different, but the same. That feeling, that emotional stuff, that was the same. And that fight and that drive, it has to be. And the thing is, it's like all of the shit that we go through, it's like we better get our purpose straight. Mm-hmm. We better figure out why I was chosen to stay here today, because God knows that I'm on borrowed time, right? So who am I, and not to get all religious and Bible bumping and shit like that, but why did God keep me here? I believe it's because I have the tenacity, I have the ambition, and that He knows that I'm going to be able to impact somebody else's life, whether it be professionally, whether it be personally, whether it be in our community, whether it be in our industry. I really feel like that's my purpose today. And what's really fucking cool about that is we get to use roofing to do that.
Yeah.
Like, my favorite thing has given us the opportunity. When I had nowhere else to go, roofing found me. Thank God it found me.
Right.
You know what I mean? I had nowhere else to go, but now we get to impact so many people's lives. Not on like a yearly basis or a monthly, but like on a daily basis.
On a daily basis. Remember not that long ago, Ty, we were talking in the office on like different ways that we can kind of try to quantify. I know you love that word.
Fucking love it.
Try to quantify the number of lives that are impacted by what we do just out of our office on a daily basis. So like there has to be a figure that some smart people like Johnny Stauffer, if you're watching right now, like Johnny Stauffer and Tam, that can probably sit down and say, okay, for every roof that we build, we affect this production manager, we affect these guys that put the roof on, we affect a salesperson, we affect an average family of 5 or 4 or whatever, you know what I mean? And go through all those steps and processes and figure out, how many lives do we really affect on a yearly basis? And that's not even talking about the actual stuff that we do in the community. That's just us going to work every day.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So like to be able to, like you said, use this as our vehicle to impact, to actually put a number on that, would probably be pretty cool, man, to really see what that is.
Yeah. And unfortunately, it won't be.
It won't even be accurate.
No, that's exactly what I was going to say, because just like you were saying, Joe, we don't even know how many people are watching this show tonight, right? Because they're not liking, they're not commenting.
Right.
How dare they?
Yeah.
Yes.
And like everything, this thing has an algorithm. Like you have to watch for so long to get counted on whatever Facebook's thing is.
Right. Right.
But it's a trickle down effect. You're right. Like, yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah.
And you guys, like, you don't need my validation, but like some of the bigger companies I've interviewed on my podcast, so like Kurt from Lanier Roofing or Josh at Smart Roof, like $100 million companies, like, for what it's worth, the common thread that those guys talk about is exactly that. It's like, we're feeding 130 families, with like this business, and like that's what drives them, transforming people's lives, getting people out of like dead end jobs, and they're building like careers and making that, like Ed Milet talks about, like you're that being that one person in your family lineage that like changes the trajectory of your family, of your legacy. Like that's crazy. That's awesome.
That's really cool stuff, man, for sure.
It is. It is when you can remove yourself from self and start focusing on that stuff right there. Like, really awesome stuff starts to happen. Like, things start to fall together. You know what I mean? Because like you were just saying, like pulling somebody out of a dead end job, right? So you're not even thinking about like, are we going to have enough work, that or do I have enough money to do this? Like, you're not even thinking about that anymore. It's like when you come over to this space over here and you look to see how you can improve this person's life, all of that stuff just seems to fall right in place. It's crazy how that works. And the more impact that you have on people's lives, like the better that everybody's lives are around us. And I've watched Chris Baker grow. I've watched Vic grow. so many different people that have come here because we don't have a high turnover rate. Thank God. I'm going to knock on wood because I just said that out loud. But it seems like every single person didn't cross our path by accident. You know, like either they've improved our lives by coming to work here, or somehow we've been able to improve their lives, or vice versa, or both,
Usually
all
both.
of it. Yeah, all of
usually
that.
both.
All of that together, and it's like that's our purpose. Like we got a kid starting on Monday. I don't know if he knows anything about anything.
We have no idea where we're going to put him, but we'll figure it out.
But it's like, okay, we'll try in the sales office for a minute. We'll put you in front of a computer. One day you might be hanging gutters. One day you might be replacing windows. He's like, cool. And I said, we'll figure out where it is where you best fit.
Right.
He just graduated high school, and we're real big about trying to get kids into the trades and stuff like that, mentor them and mentorship and stuff like that. So it's like, I don't care what he knows. Let's find out what it is that you like. Come on in. Just come in Monday.
Yeah.
He's got a driver's license, so bonus right there. Okay,
Right.
bro, you got a job. You're hired. You got a driver's license, right?
Yeah, absolutely, man.
And that's just kind of what we do. That's the culture that we have. And he's a really nice kid, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what potential he has and watching that light bulb go off. Like, yeah, I'm clicking on this, man. Like, this is where I want to settle in at.
Yeah, and it's
That's
important
cool.
for us, man, to find that seat on the bus because we say all the time, you got to love what you do. You know what I mean? So we owe it to him to, you know, I was listening to you talk to him on the phone yesterday, and it's like we owe it to him to make sure we're not setting him up for failure. You know, make sure that it's something, you know, we don't want to force him to bang windows all day if that's not what he wants to do.
Right.
You know what I mean? We our job as leaders is to make sure that we are putting him in the right position to win. You know what I mean?
Heck
So
yes.
it is definitely exciting, man.
Yeah, no
That's cool.
expectations. Yeah, we have zero expectations of like him coming in and hitting the ground running. It's like,
Right.
we're all ready to mentor this kid. Like, we're ready. Like, come on, dude, come on in here. We'll figure it out. Let's figure this out together. I'm sorry I don't have any direction, but that's really up to you.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, that's whatever direction you want to go and where you feel comfortable. And like Chris said, and we said it to him, like, we do not want to set you up for failure. Like, so let's move you around, come back to me in a week, in 2 weeks, in 3 weeks, and in a month, and let's sit down and say, okay, what do you feel like you want to get into?
Right.
Or is construction not even what you, because there's so many things we do here. Okay?
Right. There's so many things,
There's
man.
costing, there's AP, there's AR, there's sales,
Marketing, there's-
the marketing, we do everything here. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
What a great opportunity for a kid like that, right? He's
Yeah.
getting paid to learn. He's got some leaders. You know, maybe you don't have everything figured out, but you've got a lot figured out. Like a really good environment, established company. Like that's an awesome opportunity.
Absolutely. And
Yeah.
Ty, you know, we're sitting here talking about all the existing things that, you know, that you can possibly do here. But how many, you know, winners have we hired that we've created things for?
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like me and Britt were just talking because she just started a new job tonight, or today, not tonight. You know, she went in there to do XYZ, but you know, with David being like an up and coming booming business, you know, he may not even realize what he needs yet.
Yes.
You know, so you may, by the time you pull a little bit out of this person, a little bit out of this person, you may be a hybrid that you just create a new position that you didn't even know you needed.
dude, and how many times have we done that?
That's what I'm saying, dude.
Yes.
We got so
Yeah.
many winners up there right now that's how it happens.
They were hired to do something totally different.
Yes, and then it's like, you know what? If we take a little bit off of this person, a little bit off of this person, we just created a position that we didn't even know we needed.
Exactly. Good point, brother.
You know,
Yep.
and that could be him right there. You know,
Yeah. We've got a guy, John, on our team who just brings like almost too many ideas. This morning we had a call and we were about to end the call and he started on this new idea. I'm like, all right, John, let's that's another conversation. Like we gotta hop off now. But bring new ideas and helping us innovate. And like I've always said, like, you can pay people to do the work, or you can pay them to do the work and think. And I'm a big fan of hiring people who can think and bring new ideas to the table, or think of ways to innovate, or ways to do things more efficiently, or how to use company cam, or whatever it might be.
Yeah.
But like, you know, people that are there that are thinking and not just like following orders are, oh man, so valuable.
right?
Yes. yes.
That's so true, man.
It
That's
is.
so
and,
true.
and that was a great point that you brought up, because I had wrote something down one day, and I'm actually going through my notes here to see if I can find it. But as leaders, we're not here to train people on how to think, but what to think. Or not, or is that the other way around? Not what.
Yeah,
to
other
think.
way around.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Not necessarily what to think, but how to think, but so they can think on their own.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like that's our jobs to like
Absolutely,
show
man.
you like it's okay, make a decision, make a mistake. Like we almost need you to make mistakes. Okay, not hopefully not costly mistakes, and limit them, please. But so you can learn, like we touched on earlier. It's like without making those mistakes and figuring it out on your own and thinking on your own and thinking on your toes and being able to think quick. Like I don't want to take that away from anybody. I don't want to take what your true talents are away from you as a leader. Like I need you to blossom and turn into that person and bring it to the table.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like I don't want to tell you what to do all the time anymore.
Right.
Like I used to be that guy. Like
Yeah.
to let go of the control.
Yeah.
Is awesome.
Yeah. Remember what Eric Burr said, man? Stop hiring smarter people than telling them what to do all the time.
Yes.
Yeah.
Let them. You hired them because they're smart. Let them blossom. Let them do the
Yeah.
job that you hired them to do, and come up with new and better ways to do things. Because I mean, let's face it, man. The way that technology evolves anymore, I mean, it's just exponential.
Yes.
There's new processes. There are better ways to do things. There's new technologies that are coming out every day, every week, and you got to keep up with that. And you got to keep bringing smart people in that have a new, fresh set of eyes on things and have new, bright ideas. Otherwise you get left in the Stone Age real quick.
Hell yes. You got that
Yeah.
right. For
And everything you said, Ty, you're just talking about like with employees or team members, like same thing with kids, right? Like you don't want to be, in my opinion, a helicopter parent where you're they're not allowing your kids to screw up and make mistakes. You got to screw up and figure out how to solve problems and figure out how to stop arguing with their sibling or whatever it is. Like they've got to figure out how to do that themselves.
Yeah. And Chris and I had a moment about a month or so ago, and I had this epiphany, and I'm sure I heard it someplace else and read it or whatever, and I tend to recycle all kinds of shit. Everything that comes out of my mouth I've read or saw or something
I hear ya.
listened
Yeah.
to before, and it's like
You too.
yeah. So it was like Chris came to me one day and was talking about, hey man, I want to learn how to do video editing and stuff. And right away, my first reaction was, God, I really need you to do the job that you were not hired to do, but whatever it is that you're doing. Now I didn't say that, and I slept on it. And the next morning I woke up and I'm like, dude, I need to embrace that. You know what I mean? Like I need to embrace that. So I approached him. I'm like, yo, dude, what do you need? You need a new laptop, which I haven't gotten you one yet.
I've been too damn busy for it
But
anyways.
like what stuff do you need? You need a new laptop that can handle editing and things like that, and what programs do you need and stuff like that. But that's what we need to do. And if he can focus 20% of his time on that, and if he can give me 80% at what he does on a daily basis and keeps the wheels rolling in the department that he's in, dude, that's going to do so much for him. Now he's got skin in the game. Now he's got equity. Okay, if we're allowing him to do that, if I can just get the fuck out of the way and stop trying to control everything and kind of let people blossom and groom them and encourage them, dude, things just, it's crazy how that happens.
Yeah, and like the editing thing, like editing's it's very time consuming. I don't do it. I don't have a desire to do it. I never have. But like if you have someone that has a desire, like Chris, like you run with it, because if you try to force that on someone else who doesn't want to do it, like it's never gonna happen, So
Yeah, it's definitely time consuming.
that's cool. You got to have that desire to do something like that for sure.
And I don't want him to lose, or anyone, and we're picking on you right this second, but I don't want you to lose interest in what you do.
Right.
I don't want you to get burnt out. So if you can be creative and be helpful or learn a new something within the company so we can continue to keep evolving, then kudos to you, bro.
Right.
Like, thank you for having that motivation to want to learn a new trade, or learn a new skill, learn a new program. And that's what we need to do. Like you said, that may end up being a full-time job for you at some point in time. And that was you.
Never know. Right.
That was you doing it and me not holding you back, being a control freak.
Yeah, and that's something that I look at that I respect then, you know what I mean? Because I'm like, well, if the time would ever come, I know that he would have my back on that. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And that doesn't mean that time's ever going to come or it's not ever going to come. You know, that was like a little phase that I was going through that it was really neat. And like right now I'm sitting here thinking, you know, like you said, Joe, it's very time consuming. And like, I can't even imagine going home and trying to edit videos right now. Like I'm burnt. I want to go to bed. I want to eat a snack,
Right.
pet my dog, kiss my girl and go to bed.
Right
Like,
on.
that's really what I want to do. So
The hard day's work, man.
yeah, but I tell you what, in the wintertime, when, you know, it gets dark out at 5 o'clock, like, you know, maybe we can talk about it in some videos, but
Right.
listen, I am cool with not having a laptop to
Right
do
on.
it right now because it'd be collecting dust right
Yeah,
in a
and then
second,
we
so.
just gave you more responsibilities yesterday too. So
Yeah.
we keep it interesting around
Yeah.
here, that's for sure. And everybody's
Sounds
drinking,
like it.
everyone's drinking the Kool-Aid, bro.
Yeah.
You know, it is. That's a cool thing. I had a conversation with John Stauffer, who's behind the scenes a lot of times on stuff like that, and sometimes I feel like we don't get him out there enough. But we're going to do that for him, and I feel like he's coming out of his shell a little bit. But I had a conversation with John tonight about, you know, these things. Like, you know, he had said something to me today that made me think like, oh shit, like, am I losing John? But the difference with me today than like 6 years ago, I would have sat on that shit. I would have stuffed it. Mm-hmm. And then
You would have came up with your own
dude.
thing in your head.
Right,
And
right.
you would have
Right.
decided that answer.
Yeah, right. But I needed him to know where, I always need you guys to know where I stand.
Right.
You know, you're doing a good job, you're doing a bad job.
Right.
I'm going to let you know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Some kind candor. Throw that up in there.
There you go, Gary V.
Yeah, man. You know, throw some kind candor up in there if need to be. You know, but this instance was me in my head, okay, a little bit. And I tend to play up there sometimes, but usually I don't stay for very long. Oh, my. And that's a whole other podcast for another day. We could go off out in the weeds on that shit. But so I called him up. I'm like, yo, dude, you know, I heard what you said today, but I want to just make sure I heard what you said today. You know what I mean? Because I don't want to stuff this. And, you know, he was like, oh, my gosh, no. He's like, maybe I shouldn't have came out with that first. And maybe I should, you know what I mean? It was just me and my magic magnifying mind, you know, but I didn't run with it. You know, thank God I didn't run with it because I can make any situation as bad as I want or I can make it as good as I want. And that was my choice today. And thank God that I didn't run off the rails, call him some names like, you know, like I've done in the past and made myself feel really bad and made them feel even worse. And we just had a cool conversation. No stress. I know, and not that I never had any doubts of where this man stands and why I even went there today is because I'm fucking crazy and I can't help it.
Yeah, I can tell. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, I mean, communication solves a lot, right? Like one of the books I love is The Four Agreements, and one of the agreements is don't make assumptions. And you know, sometimes things like that happen, and we make up these stories in our heads, like all these crazy stories that we convince ourselves that must be true. But and I did that this morning, actually, with some situation, and I caught myself. I'm like, oh, one of the four agreements is don't make assumptions, right? So it's we've got to self coach and self correct, like every moment of the day, almost sometimes.
Seriously, man, for real.
Yeah. It's definitely good stuff, man. So what's a day in the life of Joe consist of? So I know you touched earlier on, you know, you're pretty strict on your morning routine of your wins. You know what I mean? You know, there was the famous admiral for the Navy SEALs that, you know, he starts his day with making his bed. I'm sure you've listened to that. You know that he wrote a book about it. What's your day start as? You know, what victories do you get under your belt before you even walk out your door to your job?
Yeah, I have. I've been doing this routine for a while. Wake up at 5:40. I drink one of the. I can get pretty detailed if you want, but this drink one of these big old mason jars, 24 ounces of water, Himalayan sea salt, and lemon juice. Squeeze lemon juice, and that's like a natural electrolytes that rehydrates you because you get dehydrated overnight, just your natural body. So drink one of those. I depending on the time of year, this time of year is nice. Obviously, the weather's been killer. Sit on the front porch. I meditate using the Headspace app. Do 5 or 10 minutes of meditation. I'm up to 440 something days, consecutive days right now. So like that's a motivation because man, the day I forget that, I'm gonna be so pissed off and breaking that streak. So I do that. I do. I go into the Bible app and I do the verse of the day. Usually, that's about 5 or 10 minutes there. I think my streak is like 110 days of that. So I'm a big fan of like not breaking the streak. I read 10 pages. I got that from 75 Hard. So when I did that a couple of years ago, and I still read 10 pages of like a personal development or business book. I will read through I have this thing on my Evernote called my dynamic legacy. And I go through that, which is my goals, my vision for my life, my core values, some affirmations, some things like that. So I read that out loud every morning, and then I'll do my 6:45 a.m. Eastern. I usually do my daily social post that you kind of alluded to before. Just kind of stay on schedule with that. And then from 7 to 8 is my workout hour. I'll run, work out, whatever. 8 to 9 is get the kids, breakfast ready for school, hang out with the fam, and then I'm at my desk at 9. So that's my engineered morning routine, just to stack those wins, because like shit happens throughout the day. The inboxes blow up, the phones blow up, like things happen that are not always in our control. But right now, if you have little kids, it's really hard. There's a lot going on. Our kids are 7 and 10, so fortunately I have control over my mornings, and I'm able to engineer that, so I'm primed for the day. So
Yeah.
that's what works for me. And for anyone out there, recommend try some things, see what works for you. Be aware of your energy and all that good stuff. So it's trial and error, and then every couple times a year, I'll look at it. Likely when the kids get out of school, I'll look at it and be like, all right, is this going to work for summer? Should I mix something up? So it's good to keep it fresh as well. Test new things out.
Yeah. I like how you get all those victories at the beginning, because Ty, I know you hear me on this, and a lot of the listeners probably. It is so hard if you try to push stuff to after work. Dude, you go to work all day, bro. How about a day when we just get our fucking guts kicked out all day? And it's like nothing goes right. You got supervisors screaming. You got, shit that doesn't go wrong. The guys just do the opposite of what you ask them to do. Every single thing that you can possibly think of goes wrong. And then you got to go home and have the energy to, number one, not freak out about little things, try to keep your head right, and then go work out and read books and, do all this stuff. It's like, you just want to go home and I don't even want to think. I don't want to use my brain.
Yeah.
Don't ask me no questions. I just want to eat some dinner and be quiet. You know what I mean? So it's good that you get those wins in ahead of time, because I know that we've all been there, man. We've all had those days, where if you try to push that stuff to the end and procrastinate that, it's hard to have that discipline and that self-motivation to still stick with those routines.
Yeah. I think
It is.
Go ahead, Joe.
No, I mean, it's knowing yourself, right? There are night people, like my wife's a night owl. She can get things done. We both work out in the morning though. And I'm a morning person. That's when I have my energy, my creativity. That's I work out every day. And I love it. I have for years, but if I don't do it in the morning and I tell myself I'll do it at night, I will talk myself out of it. I will, because I have, and so I just know I need to get it done in the morning.
Yeah. See, I've tried working out. I'm almost the opposite now. I have a morning routine where it's quiet time, and I read a couple books and stuff, like a couple pages out of a few books in the morning. And, and I've tried to do the workout thing, but that would require me to get up at 4 or 4:30, because I do get up at that time, but I would have to get up even earlier than that in order to get to work when I feel like I should be at work. So I guess my question, have you always had that routine, or were you the first one there and the last one to leave? Were you able to break that cycle? And say, you know what, I don't have to be the first one at the office anymore. It's okay for me to not show up till 7 or 8 or 9 o'clock in the morning.
Oh yeah, well, when I was in construction, we worked. We started at 7 a.m. Being on East Coast and serving clients all throughout the country. We kind of start at 9, that way, like, we're still ahead of the game. If you're Central or Mountain Time, like, we're still ahead of you. I hate traveling to, like, the West Coast because I feel like I'm always behind. Like, I'm waking up 3 hours later.
Yes.
But yeah, like, I still hold that kind of, like, whatever it is, the set hours, the 9 to 5, and that I still kind of have that ingrained in me. Where, if I'm doing something, a random errand during the day or whatever, which is rare because I'm pretty tight with my time and whatnot, like, I'll feel like, oh no, I need to be working, So it's funny how that gets ingrained in you. But, I mean, part of the reason that we start is to have some freedom over our time and schedule. So, that's important to me as far as, really, I'll make exceptions to the workday for kids, things going on. Last week was field day at the kids' school. And, like, so yeah, it's just like, I just try to, be grateful in that moment when I can dip out for an hour during the day to go to field day, and, I don't have to ask anyone, and, that sort of thing. Like, that's still a cool feeling. I like that. I don't know, that never goes away. I like that.
Yeah, for sure. So I got one of these days I'll let go of that, where I feel like I got to be the first one here. Because I too am a morning person, but I do for a while now, and I would say going back to when we did our first Fearless 44, I've continued to work out every single day since whenever the heck that was. Okay, like, I don't miss, but I can't. I've tried it in the mornings, but, like, it just throws me off. So it's like there's an hour that I try. As soon as I get home, I do my thing. I pet the dogs. I say hi to Jana. If one of the grandbabies are there, I'll hang out with them for a minute. But I go down in the basement and I do my workout thing. And I'll take my cold shower. Still to today, I still take 2 cold showers a day, come hell or high water. I like it. It's good for my skin. It revives me because usually when I go home, there's something else that I have to do. Like, my day's not over yet. So that's kind of like round 2. Okay. second shift starts for me at that point in time, because I always have another appointment or meeting or something that I have to attend at 7 o'clock. So typically my night isn't over till about 9:30, 10 o'clock. A lot of nights. Like tonight, I won't get home till probably, I don't know, 9:30, 10 sometimes. Vic and I will rap about something that happened throughout the course of the day, or something that we got to do tomorrow or whatever. But that just seems to work for me. But God damn it, I envy you, because, dude, I couldn't handle knowing that people have been at work for 3 hours already. That would drive me freaking insane.
I hear you. I totally get it. Yeah.
You'd be pacing in your...
Dude, I couldn't...
You'd at least be on the phone.
There would be no quiet time for me, bro. I'd be sitting outside drinking my cup of coffee, like losing my shit, knowing that you've been there for 3 hours. Rolling in at 9, what?
Right.
What's wrong? I'd be getting phone calls like, are you sick? Are you okay?
Facts, dude.
Are you at the beach?
Right.
Right on, but...
Yeah.
Well, there was... and I get that. There is a guy I did a lot of work with for a few years. I don't want to mention his name, but, like, he had an office full of people, and he would, like, go to, like, a coffee shop, or just, like, hang out at home in the morning and, like, do his kind of, working on the business, thinking, strategizing, that sort of thing. And then he'd roll into the office around lunch, and that was just kind of his deal. That worked for him, because he knew once he walked into that office, it was just like, whack-a-mole, right? So that worked for him, and that always stuck with me. When I think, like, I have to be at my laptop or be in my office or whatever, that kind of stuck with me. So you grab things from people along the way, and I guess it's a sense of guilt, right? It's like, how people are working in my company and I'm not, like, how I feel like an imposter or something,
Yeah.
Like I'm letting them down, or they're gonna think I'm messing around, that I'm not working. But I don't know.
Right.
One of these days, one of these days, man.
Just see what happens.
Yeah, like make it
Yeah.
when I show up at the office.
You're probably going to be surprised, Ty, because everything's probably going to be okay, and no one's going to come
Always
looking
is.
for you, and
It always
shit's
is.
just going to get done.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. It is, and I mean, we're not.
they don't need you.
They don't. They don't. Oh, they don't. Yeah. This is where I struggle nowadays. Like, the problem is there's I'm the dumbest person in the room now. Like, literally, like,
That's
everyone
good.
is so far advanced it's ridiculous. Like, it's so ridiculous. It really is. Like, okay, you guys did a great job. I'm going home now.
Yeah.
Thanks. You know, like, really all I do is show up and they do the work, like, for real. And I think I'm at that place in my career where I think I'm struggling with that a little bit some days, not all the time, okay? Because I've relieved some of my tasks and jobs, most of them. I mean, but don't get me wrong, I found things to fill in those things, all of those things, and this is what's crazy. So when I was doing all of these things, like, I was always so stressed out about all of these other things. So then when I started to delegate these jobs and tasks to people, it was like I couldn't remember what the hell used to stress me out. You know what I mean? Like, what? There was like this gnawing thing that I knew that I should be doing as the owner, but what the hell was it? Like, I couldn't. I swear to God, I think I had a conversation with Vic like a year or two ago, and it's like, dude, like what happened to that? It's like, but
Yeah.
we found things for me to do. Well,
Yeah.
I should say, Chris, okay, what am I doing today, bro? Give me direction, homie.
Well, I think like some people, like Tim Ferriss calls it like filling the void, right? Like, it all depends what you want. If you want to work those hours, that's great, that's awesome. But if you don't, like someone like you, I can see your energy. Like, you'd have to fill that void with something else, you know.
Yeah.
You should talk to my boy Benny Fisher. You know Ben. I'm sure you know of Benny or know him
I think
from
so.
social media.
Yeah, I don't
He's
know
out
him,
in
but
Pitts-
know of
he's
him.
out- He's out in Pittsburgh, owns a roofing company, Big Fish Contracting Company, and he's got his business to where I think he does like 6 or 8 hours a week as an owner, as the visionary in the business. And so now he's coaching with us and, you know, doing some things with our team as well. But because he's filling that void, like, he can't sit still either. But he doesn't want to. He knows that his team's got the company running. You know, he's got the EOS and all that, everything running well. So it's, you know, he's filling the void with, you know, other things. But you should talk to him if you ever want to work fewer hours and not feel guilty about it. He'll. I don't know. You guys can meet in the middle somewhere.
Well,
Yeah.
I consider myself semi-retired now.
Oh, cool.
And
gets
that's
to the
only
point-
about 60, between 60 and 80 hours.
Yeah, because honestly, man, I feel like it's at the point right now that if Ty goes into the sales office and messes with Lauren too much, she's like, dude, just stop touching shit. Like,
Right.
we got this. You're gonna fuck something up. Like,
It's
just
like
don't touch
they call it like the seagull management. You come in and shit all over
it. Yeah, what are
everything
you guys
and
doing
leave.
in here?
Yeah.
Well, no, I don't
No,
do
but
that.
it's-
I'll
no.
start making paper airplanes and catching them on fire and throwing
Yeah.
them across the room, and they're like freaking out. You're gonna burn the place down. I'm like, nah, we're good. But
Yeah.
you know, we
That's
have
a real
fun.
story,
Yeah,
by
I
the
do
way.
that.
He
I like
he lit
fire.
a paper airplane on fire, and our human resources manager was like, he's not really gonna throw it out. I was like, yes, he is. And
Shit, she
sure
didn't
enough,
like that. I think
threw
I got
that
you.
sucker across the room.
Did you get written up
I
for
did.
you know?
Getting ready to say, I think she wrote me up.
She did, and she took his. She blessed him with a certificate of wokeness, right, a while back, and she revoked it that day.
She revoked my
She
woke
went
card,
and took
bro.
his woke certificate. So
Yeah.
he was in the doghouse for a little
I
while.
was. She gave it back.
It was funny.
Yeah, I got it back.
I thought it was
I earned
funny.
it. Yeah,
Yep, earned
Yeah.
it back.
Sounds like a fun place to work.
it is. We do have fun. You
Yeah,
know?
man.
Yeah.
Shots in the middle of the day sometimes.
Yeah.
Espresso shots.
Yeah.
Don't
Oh,
get it
okay.
twisted.
Yeah.
You know, espresso shots.
Yeah. All
But-
kinds of good stuff.
Yeah, it's definitely fun, man, for sure.
Well, here, we've already yapped for an hour and 2 minutes. Joe, is there anything else that you want to throw out to the interweb here and let the people know about?
Man, I mean, that's cool. That's a good amount of time. I just think it's really cool. Like, this is the first time we've ever connected beyond Facebook Messenger, and you know, it's value alignment, like with everything, right? I think it's awesome. So it's been a pleasure
Ooh,
getting to know you guys. And what's up?
yeah, you're going out of town next weekend or next week, aren't you?
Not positive yet. So let's. I know. Yeah.
Okay.
We'll I'll have a sidebar about that, but
Yeah. Okay.
but not positive yet.
I got excited for a second because I thought.
I know. It's crazy.
Yeah. But cool. No, man, thank you for coming on the show. It really
Yeah,
means
man.
a lot to us. And hopefully we can build. I mean, you're only in Jersey, like, what, 2.5 hours maybe from us down here.
Yeah, where are you in Pennsylvania?
We're right below Harrisburg.
All right. Yeah, I think it's like 3 hours.
I'm not sure if I should be offended right now.
I'm sorry.
What, did the tattoos give it away or what?
Everyone says
yeah,
they have
it's about-
weird accents, bro.
Do we?
About 3 hours. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. You guys have so much fun. Let's come out and shoot some content in person someday. You
Shoot
know.
some
let's do
flaming
that.
airplanes at people. Yeah, man.
Yeah, or we can come over and see you. I mean, whatever. We like to travel too.
Yeah, for sure, man.
Yeah,
For
road
sure.
trip. Cool.
Yeah.
See what you can do to be able to go out of town, because we're going. Jana and I, my better half, will be heading south. So hopefully you and your better half or plus one can make it.
Yeah, we got to. I got to figure out the passport situation. That's what it comes down to.
Ooh,
I drag my feet on it a little bit. I'm trying to scramble to make it happen. So, yeah.
damn it. Well, that happens. Sometimes we
Yeah.
procrastinate.
Shit happens, man.
It does.
I'm sure someone has a helicopter somewhere. Someone that's in this damn community has a helicopter. Get the man to the place he needs to go.
There you go. Right on. Cool. Well, it's been a blast, man. Let's stay in touch regardless if we don't see you next week. Let's stay in touch. I know John and I have spoke with somebody from your team. Eric, I think maybe his name was, or Justin, or somebody from your team.
Dan or Alex? Yeah.
Dan.
Alex. Yeah.
Alex, okay. Yeah, so we spoke with them, so even on that level, I'm sure things will work out there, but on a personal or professional, whatever, let's stay in touch, man.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. I appreciate getting to know you guys, and thanks so much for having me on.
Yeah, man.
Before we wrap it up here, guys, I just want to throw out there to the listeners, we got the food drive coming up here June 23rd.
Food drive.
We're trying to double what we did last year. That is 8,000 pounds of food, and we're going to need about $4,000 in donations and cash donations.
Yes.
Going to the Well Food Pantry for Union Lutheran Church. We have a flyer posted on our Facebook page. We're coming down to crunch time. There's a couple different drop spots that you can find on our Facebook page. If anyone wants to come down, if you want to be a drop spot, let us know. We can set that up, and then June 23rd, we'll be driving around with the box truck to all the drop spots, collecting all that stuff and hand delivering it to the people. So we're getting down to crunch time. Make sure you guys hop on our Facebook page, share that flyer out for us. Because we got some big shoes to fill here from
Yeah, we
last
do.
year. So get good shit, Glenn. Glenn's gonna throw 100 in the hat for it.
There you go.
So TC Backer matches